This year's bumper crop of wheat in Iraq, the proliferation of date plantations in Tunisia, continued agriculture in Yemen despite the war, ensuring water supply to coastal cities in Libya, have all been made possible by the availability of groundwater. This underground water keeps the arid countries of the Middle East alive. It does not lose in drought and heat. It is the main source of fresh water for at least 10 Arab countries. But as climate change causes less rain and extreme heat to dry up rivers and lakes, groundwater is becoming more important in these countries. Pressure on groundwater in the Middle East is increasing. How this natural resource can be properly utilized depends on the type of bedrock it is stored in, how deep it is stored, how it flows, and how it is connected to nearby surface water such as rivers and lakes. Also important is whether it comes from a reusable source. Some groundwater in the Middle East has been stored underground for thousands of years. This is called fossil groundwater. It is difficult to replenish. Like mineral oil, it can be used only once. In recent decades, water extraction from these reservoirs has increased. Some groundwater sources are recharged by rainwater. Care should be taken in these cases that more water cannot be extracted than what is coming. But in a region like Yemen in the midst of civil war, such calculations are difficult to accept. Such calculations are straightforward for a developed country like Saudi Arabia. Perhaps that's why they moved away from groundwater-dependent agriculture. On the other hand, the situation in Morocco is that the authorities who want to carry out such an audit are stoned away by the villagers. They are illegally digging wells and extracting underground water, which they don't want people outside the area to see. Recent data from satellite observations suggest that groundwater levels in the Middle East have decreased significantly over the past decade. Many groundwater aquifers are already being used at a faster rate than they can be replenished. The truth is, no one really knows if or when the Middle East's groundwater will run out. It is difficult to determine because this water is naturally accumulated, not according to the borders of Middle Eastern countries. There are 43 transboundary aquifers in the region. If a country is extracting large amounts of groundwater and neighboring countries are not extracting the same source of water in the same way, the situation becomes complicated. For example, Libya, Tunisia, and Algeria draw water from the same groundwater basin. Recent reports indicate that Libya is using about half of its 6,500 wells, while Tunisia and Algeria have far fewer wells. There is no legal recourse against Libya. Mutual understanding is needed here. Hopefully, different countries are more likely to come together. Even countries that do not deal with each other at the bilateral level will sit at the same table when it comes to water management. All parties need to understand the issue of maintaining balance by withdrawing groundwater and replenishing it differently over time. The challenge here is to balance short-term and personal interests with long-term, social and environmental interests.